Who let the lemon head into the room? You are a waste of life, and you should give up.
Thunder Myth, and this is Pam.
Pam, it's Michael. Help me. I need help right now. I enjoy having breakfast in bed. I like waking up to the smell of bacon. Sue me. And since I don't have a butler, I have to do it myself.
That's awesome!
Very awesome indeed. And you know what's also very awesome? Us
What's
doing
that?
another DC animated movie universe review. That's
Yep,
what's
that's
awesome.
awesome. That's awesome.
But you know what else is awesome?
Go on.
Doing a DC animated movie universe review on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah! When
That's-
no one's gonna watch us.
Exactly. They might catch us on the replay, but other than that, it's probably just going to be a very, very quick stream tonight, but we'll more on that a little later. What is up, guys? My name is the Osnator, and welcome back to the channel. This is another DC animated movie universe review. After this one, we have 2 more to go. I hope you all have been enjoying this review, like, mini streaming series, I guess you could say, the limited series that you'll never see again once we're done. Well, they'll still be up, but after this is it. This long-running anime arc of us reviewing these movies are about to come to an end. But do not fret.
Especially considering these are my first time watching these.
Exactly. But don't fret. We still have 3 more parts of this to go. So
Wow, what's up, Wiggins? I can't believe he's here.
what's
Can't
up,
believe
Deshaun?
anyone's here.
Deshaun says he's watching the Super Bowl right now. Awesome. I know a
Of
lot
course
of
he is.
people are tonight. It's a very, very big
Yep.
game. Very big night. And tonight we're reviewing Batman Hush. It's gonna be a very interesting review. It's not very conflicting opinions necessarily, but it's gonna be an interesting discussion to have, though, especially coming from somebody
Yeah.
who's read the comic book storyline versus someone who's only seen the movie. It's gonna be interesting to see how different our perspectives are gonna be. We might have somebody else joining us. If not, that's all right. But of course we have the usual suspect, Dylan from Anime Talk. How's it going tonight?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I'm having a blast, and I can't wait to talk about this movie. This should be a lot of fun, because I had a blast, but I'll hush up about it.
Aha,
I'm
I see
sorry.
what you did. Ha 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 ha, yeah, oh my god. Batman Hush was good, but as a comic book adaptation, it was disappointing. We're going to get to that because I do have some thoughts, but before we begin, Dylan, where can they find you at?
You guys can find me at, of course, here on my buddy Austin here for the DC reviews. These are my first time watching these movies, my first reactions to these, and my first reviews of the DC universe. So it's been a lot of fun. I know we have 2 movies left. I can't wait to get to those 2. I can't wait to see how this story ends. But so far, I'm really enjoying the ride. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe with my buddy Austin over here for the rest of these reviews. You can also find me at my own channel, Anime Talk, where I basically gather up a couple of friends and we chat about anime. We talk about anime. Last week we were talking about Death Note. This week we will be talking about Death Note again, part 2, finishing up the conversation with my buddy Austin. Maybe Sour, should be fun. You guys can also find me on my buddy Zach Algielo's channel for these Scream reviews. My first time watching Scream as well, and I've enjoyed it so far. We're going to be reviewing Scream 5 very soon.
Very nice, very nice. And then we have Deshaun saying, I did not like what they did with Hush. Ooh, again, it's gonna be a very interesting conversation about this tonight because of very conflicting opinions all around thus far.
Yeah. Interesting though. Like they are conflicting, but it's interesting.
It's very interesting, and we're gonna get into why in a little bit. But of course, before we even get into the actual review, I gotta do the age-old tradition of discussing the plot of the movie in just a couple of sentences. So, okay, here we go.
Work your
So,
magic, Austin.
Batman or Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle are kind of having a relationship, but there's also this villain mastermind behind the scene who's manipulating these other villains to get to Batman. So the real question is, who is this evil mastermind? And what does he have to do with Bruce Wayne and Batman? Who's involved? We'll find out. Dylan, was that the plot of the movie?
That was, yeah, that was the plot of the movie. Yeah, that was spot on the plot of the movie. Yeah.
See, look at that. I'm still just. I'm killing it with these stuff.
Yeah. You are, dude. Like I say every review. They should just hire you for doing that alone.
Like,
They
I'm
should
just
just
gonna be
hire
doing
you
movie
for the
trailers.
descriptions.
Like, they're just gonna hire me and be like, all right, here's one sentence. We're fucked.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll go with that.
So, let's start off. Oh, wait, we got Kavari in the chat. YouTube, stop notifying me when you're live. Really? Well,
That
I
sucks.
mean, yeah, it does, but who cares, you know? But what's up, Kavari? Good to see you. Oh, Tara Strong fan. What's up, Tara Strong fan? Favorite scene from this movie? Catwoman making out with Poison Ivy. I can respect that. Not gonna lie.
Okay, whatever.
Let's get into our overall thoughts. And Dylan, I'm gonna start with you. What are your overall thoughts?
So my overall thoughts of this movie is I really just liked everything. I really liked the overall plot. I really liked Bruce and his quote unquote story within this movie, and him like trying to get over some old relationships so he can enjoy this new one. I could go into more detail, but I'm saving that for my positives. Overall, this was a pretty awesome movie. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Very good, very good. Um, so here's my thoughts on this movie, and it's a very good film. I enjoyed this movie more than I thought I did, which is actually kind of surprising because originally I was like, "Oh, this movie it was ass. It sucked." But after rewatching it again, I have to say I actually rather enjoyed it a lot more than I did. It's it's not my favorite because I kind of agree with Deshaun. It was a good movie, but as like an adaptation, it didn't work. But I'll kind of go into more of my reasonings behind what behind why. Well, actually, Terra Strong fan comes in. The mystery behind who Hush was pretty suspenseful until we figured out it was Riddler, and the way he lost in the end was kind of anticlimactic in my opinion.
I agree with the first part of that sentence, but I disagree with the second. But we'll get into that.
Yes, yes, we will. Let's go into our positives. And I'm actually gonna let Dylan start because I know he has more positives. So, well, I'll just start with you.
Okay, positives. Actually, we'll just start with the big one, the big reveal, because Tara Strong already brought it up. Yeah, the big reveal that Hush was actually Riddler, I absolutely thought was absolutely incredible. Riddler is one of my favorite Batman villains, like no joke. I even prefer the Riddler over Joker. I don't even know why. I just really do enjoy the Riddler. And when it comes to the Riddler being Hush, I mean, uh, once I learned the explanation and what was kind of on the hype train for seeing the Riddler being back and being the mastermind behind everything, everything just clicked. I liked how it was the Lazar pit that kind of gave him the superpower brain to think about who Batman could be. figuring out that the only person it could be was Bruce Wayne, I thought made sense. And then him to go through this whole craziness, making Mudman into another version of himself just to trick everybody. I thought it was all cool. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the Riddler coming back. Because that's the thing. Like Riddler, yes, you can almost call him like a Joker wannabe. Like he's not the most popular villain of Batman, but that's what I kind of like him like about him more. Joker is just absolutely crazy, while I like the Riddler being someone who you can kind of more or less go toe to toe with Batman's smarts, which I really enjoy. And I thought they did a really good job in this movie. And the reveal that was Riddler, and then at the end of the film, when Riddler is literally just calling off what Batman's gonna do next, knowing exactly what he's gonna do. He's gonna go down to this platform. That he's gonna call Alfred. That he's gonna narrow all of the platforms down to like 62, and then from 62 he's gonna figure out that one of them is actually an anagram for his name. And I thought the way Riddler was, it really worked for me in this movie. Riddler was fantastic in this movie. I really liked the big reveals. I really liked the big twist. Riddler was fantastic. But then again, like you guys are saying, I never read the comic book, so I I don't have that looking into this. I really enjoyed Hush as a character. I really enjoyed Riddler as a character, and then all my other positives are gonna be probably what Austin is gonna say too. I really enjoyed the relationship with Catwoman. I really enjoyed Batman. Something that I really also enjoyed is the how do you say it, because the cameos, yes, there are a lot of cameos, but like each one of them fits, and each one of them, like this is the perfect Batman movie. You got all the villains, they show up for a couple cameos, but they don't show up just for the cameos. They pretty much show up because they make sense within the context of the movie. So I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the idea of Superman being controlled by Ivy, and Batman trying to figure out a way to um break that, and by using Lois Lane was fantastic, and the Catwoman throwing her off the roof. Showing that Catwoman, while she is trying to be good, trying to change, she is still Catwoman. She still has a little villain in there, and I enjoyed that kind of wild side, and it was interesting to see Batman's and Catwoman's relationship in this movie kind of grow from that too. Um, and it was really interesting at the end of the film when Catwoman, trying to save Bruce's life, pretty much decides to kill the Riddler, and then Batman's like, he didn't need to die. I could have saved him, and his whole thing about, which I've said every single time I've ever watched a Batman film. Batman's whole thing is, if he does give in, if he does kill, then he's no better than the villains he's trying to put behind bars. And so I really liked that, and how it kind of collides against Catwoman, because Catwoman was pretty much at that point just trying to save Bruce's life and get out of there, because she does love Batman. She wants to have a life with him, but here Batman can't. And I really enjoyed the idea that Catwoman, basically at the end of the film, the reason why she leaves him is because he can't just walk away from being Batman. Something that we've seen in every other Batman film. And that's the main point that I'm trying to get to. This is just about like everything Batman you could want wrapped up in the movie. For me, this is pretty much a perfect Batman movie. Is it my favorite Batman movie? I'm on the hype train, so yeah. But when I'm trying to control my hype train and get off of it, this is a pretty average Batman film, and I really do enjoy it because of that. There's nothing bad with an average Batman film. Not to mention there was a lot of really good jokes. I liked how they used Batman's quote unquote family in the movie as well. One of my favorite was the jokes about Damien and Damien's mom. That was great. But yeah, there's a lot more positives I can go through, but I don't want to go through the whole movie and leave nothing for Austin to talk about. So I'm gonna hand the conversation over to you, my friend.
Well, most of what you said, Dylan, I'm going to kind of agree with. I'm not going to go too much in detail about it, but I did like the overall pacing and how the flow of the movie. I think everything actually it didn't feel like the characters had nothing to do or they were just there. Like they actually had a purpose for being there. Like all the villains like Bane and Poison Ivy, Joker, like even though they're only in the movie for maybe a little bit, they still had a narrative reason to being there because Hush slash the Riddler uh basically is manipulating them to work with them to take down Batman slash Bruce Wayne, which it actually works really well. And I think the action in this movie is great too. Especially the fights with Bane and the little action sequences towards the end with Hush and Batman. And I actually will say this too. What I liked about this movie is I like that Batman actually does something in this movie
Yeah,
instead of either getting his ass kicked, standing around, or sleeping on a couch.
he does do that quite a lot.
He does. It's ridiculous. The Catwoman and Batman relationship, I agree with Dylan. It worked really well. It actually, it felt organic. It didn't feel forced. It felt very, I wouldn't say natural, but it felt for the narrative standpoint, it actually makes sense. Like, they paced it out really well. And you see how Batman and Bruce Wayne, and I think the main moral of the story is that I think Bruce Wayne and Batman can't really coexist in terms of having a normal life because Bruce Wayne is Batman and Batman's ideology is, justice before, his own life and his own happiness. And so you see how in this movie you have Bruce who's too stubborn to change, and you have Catwoman who wants him to not really change, but more or less not just try to have a life with him. But at the end of the movie, she realizes she can't because, kind of like the earlier message early on in the movie, is that how Catwoman was doing it because of it gave her the rush and also is doing the same thing all the time. That's what Batman's doing to Bruce Wayne is he's doing the same thing over and over again to a point where you could argue that he's kind of crazy too. But even all the villains kind of make that remark sometimes where they're like, well, Batman, why are we the crazy ones, Batman? You're basically like us. I mean, you dress up like a bat. And so having that little message at the end where basically they can't really coexist or have a relationship because Batman is Batman, it makes a lot of sense. And I will say, as much as I did not like the Riddler reveal, I will admit it does work for the story standpoint because I do understand that you couldn't really do Jason Todd because he doesn't exist in this universe, but I feel like because in the comic books, Thomas Elliot, who is Bruce's friend, and you see him early in the movie, that he's the one that's actually Hush. But changing it to be the Riddler feels like they were trying to do an Under the Red Hood, where they took a really amazing story and tried to turn the ending into its own thing. But then it kind of doesn't work. But I'll get into that in no more detail. The alleyway scene where Batman beats the Joker to death, essentially, and almost kills him because of what Joker did to his friend, and Joker's saying, look, I didn't actually kill him, like, I'm innocent, I wanted you to break your code, but I wanted it to be about something that I did. But then, Batman is ready to kill him, and then Gordon's like, don't throw your life away, do not throw your code away because of the Joker.
That was fantastic.
It was a very, very good scene. Very well adapted. And I liked how Hush was manipulating the villains. Like, you had Hush give Bane new venom. You had Hush manipulate Ivy by saying that he's going to kill her plants. You have Hush kidnap Joker and actually put him in a situation where, oh, he might have killed Thomas Elliot type of thing, which was fun. And again, like back to the action sequences, I liked the stuff with Clayface in Arkham because Clayface I just think is a fun villain, and again he plays his part very well. And Nightwing, very fun. I liked how throughout the movie he's like kind of making fun of Bruce, saying, "Hey, look at Bruce Wayne, he's got a date. Alfred, look at him, he's got a date." And then Bruce is like, "Can you go away?"
That was
And then
fantastic.
And then Dick's like, "Nope, you're on a date. You're on a date. Ha 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 ha." And then you see Nightwing kind of bond with Catwoman a little bit towards the end, which was nice because Nightwing
Yeah.
is Batman's, well, first son, technically.
His
So it was
adopted son.
his adopted son, but his first child. And
Mhm.
so it was nice seeing him bond with Catwoman, and Damian basically telling Batman to make sure that his drink's not spiked or drugged, so that way he can't have another child, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, I
Uh,
thought that was funny too. I also like how Damian almost accepts the fact that Batman is going out with a previous villain, but he's also like, don't trust her.
exactly, because that's who Damian is.
It does make sense for his character.
I also really like the opening to the movie where you have Batman fighting Bane and also him chasing Catwoman. I always like the cat, like usually the superhero chasing the burglar type of thing, because it's always a very fun, like I know it's kind of cliche at this point, but it's always a very fun, like little thing that they do that's always like, oh yeah, that's pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
I kind of also like the reasoning behind getting Batman a new suit, because he gets a head injury throughout, and then he gives him the bluish tint suit because it gives a little bit more padding to his head. And I gotta admit, I actually think the blue and gray suit is actually kind of underrated, because as much as I like the gray and black, I think the blue and gray just it adds a little bit more color to him.
I
But he's
also think it like kind of calls back to the original Batman a little bit, and I feel like that's
yeah,
what they did, which I don't mind at all.
and it looked good too. So.
It did.
And I also like how this movie does call back to the previous movies where Batman meets up with Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor is he's in bed. He's like, "Batman, it's 3 a.m. What do you want?" And then Batman's like,
That
"You
was
have
great.
information." And then Lex is like, "I want to go back to bed." And Batman's like, "No, give me the information now." And then Lex is like, "Fine, but I'm a Justice League member. You need to treat me with respect." And Batman's like, "You're really not a Justice League member, but..."
Yeah, you said as your part timer or something like that. Paraphrasing there, but
And I do kind of like the
don't
little
call us, we'll call you. That was great.
And I did like the sequence between in the Daily Planet where you have Lois and Clark. They're kind of interacting with each other, and then Batman comes in. He's like, "Hey, Lois, good to see you. Oh, Clark, nice to meet you. I've admired your work." And then when Lois leaves, the Clark's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And
Yeah.
then Bruce is like, "Mind your business." And then Bruce makes a little joke about how he's gonna buy the Daily Planet. I thought that was because that's funny because
That
Bruce
was
would
pretty
do
great.
it too. Um,
Just to mess with Superman, he definitely would.
That actually kind of reminds me of a solid JJ video, Dylan, which I might show you after this. It's like a 2-minute video, but it's very funny. But yeah, I agree with you. I like the whole Superman being hypnotized by Ivy thing and being able to control him
Kryptonite kiss. Dang. Didn't think that was
Kryptonite
the word.
kiss,
Okay.
and having Batman kind of have a little bit of a fight with Superman. It makes sense in having Catwoman throw Lois off the roof so Superman can break out of his hypnosis. I thought that was it makes sense type of thing. As far as all my positives, I mean, I feel like we kind of got away with everything. I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, every positive that you have is the exact same positive I have. Like, you gotta admit that as much as there were, and there were quite a lot of cameos. You had Lex Luthor, you had Superman, you had all the villains, you had, of course, the big bad. There was a lot of cameos within this movie, but like not one of them felt forced or out of place, which is something I really enjoyed.
Exactly. I think another thing I like too is I like how throughout these movies Alfred is just tired of Bruce's shit. Like he's just
Yeah.
Alfred's like, you're supposed to be on bed rest, and then Bruce is like, no, I don't want to be on bed rest. And then Alfred's like, fine, but don't come crying to me, buddy boy. And then Bruce is like, I won't.
He's also a little annoyed that there's a Catwoman in the building. I felt like.
Alfred's just over it. He's like, Bruce, stop. You gotta stop, Bruce. And then Batman's like, please let me be happy, Alfred. He's like, you can be happy, just not here.
Yeah.
Alfred's like, get out. I guess my last negative is, despite the ending, which I'll kind of go into my negatives, for what it was, I think for the most part, it's actually adapted fairly well. But I'll kind of talk about my negative, because honestly, it's that negative that kind of not really ruined the movie, but it kind of takes it down a little bit, which I'll get into in a bit. But I want to get into some of these comments first. Let's see here. Side topic: the Flash trailer was amazing. I did see it. It actually was. Still mixed on it, but I will at least admit
I actually really liked Jim Carrey as the Riddler in that. Sorry.
It was fairly alright, fairly good. Jim Carrey was an entertaining Riddler back then. Yeah, I agree. I think for the time he was actually very, very fun and enjoyable. Catwoman throwing Lois Lane off the roof was my second favorite scene. Yeah, I liked it. It was
a
very
good
good.
scene.
I think the main difference between Marvel and DC is that the DC villains never actually win, but in Marvel sometimes they do. Like how Green Goblin killed Gwen Stacy, which Spider-Man felt was a loss. Oh, the DC villains win.
Yeah, from time to time.
Sometimes. Alfred Pennyworth kind of reminds me of Watari from Death Note.
Mm.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let's get into our negatives. Dylan, I'll let you start first. Do you have any negatives?
Do I have any negatives? Nope.
Okay, good enough. I'm gonna keep it very short and brief because I think everybody in the chat has talked about it, and I did talk about it a little bit. The Riddler reveal, and mainly it's because I've read the comic books and I know who Hush is.
That's the difference between you and me, really. I think it just comes down to that.
I'm sorry, but the Riddler reveal was kind of dumb. And mainly, and here's my reasoning behind it, okay? Yes, the Riddler having the brain tumor and using the Lazarus Pit and then the Lazarus Pit, like he finds out about Batman's identity. Yes, that happens in the aftermath of Batman Hush, and yes, I get what they were trying to do, and for the narrative standpoint of this film, it does work. The problem is, again, and this is my issue with some of these comic book movies, is that they're trying to change the character's background when they really shouldn't. I think to me, if Thomas Elliot was revealed to be like Hush, I'd be like, oh, whoa, that was kind of surprising. Because to me, I'd be more surprised if it was Thomas Elliot than Riddler. Because to me, it felt strange. Very strange and very weird. I don't know if I would necessarily. It's just, to me, I think the ending was just very weird, and I just think the Riddler reveal kind of hurts it for me. But with that being said, does it ruin the movie completely? No, because I do think for the most part it works.
That's the thing. Like, maybe it's also because I'm a really big Riddler fan. Like, I really like the idea of a villain that can go toe to toe with Batman in terms of smarts instead of just craziness like the Joker.
Yeah. And yeah, I honestly I think yeah, I really, other than that, I don't have any real negatives because I think you said it best, Dylan. This is a good baseline Batman film. Like,
Yeah, it's your basic
Batman,
Batman story.
yeah, it's a standard Batman movie. It's not, I think that also might be my issue too, is because Batman Hush is such a great storyline that this movie just being good is just kind of like a, wow, that kind of sucks. But other than that, I don't really have any other negatives. I thought the movie was enjoyable,
Same here.
but
It's just interesting to compare our experiences, considering I've only seen this through this movie and not through the comics. So it's interesting to compare the two.
it is interesting. And especially like knowing how comfortable you are with the characters and so on and so forth, that I'm actually I'm glad you at least enjoyed it, Dylan, and I'm actually surprised you really liked it. So yeah, I think thus far it's going good at least for you, I think.
Yep.
Terra Strong fan is, I'd like to see Talia al Ghul versus Lady Shiva fight. That would be interesting. I think another positive that I forgot to mention is I like seeing Waller, like Batman and Waller just having like a conversation and having Batman like, hey, I want to talk to Bane, and then Waller's like, no. And Batman's like, oh, well, it's a shame because I know about this Suicide Squad thing that you've been doing. And Waller
Yeah,
looks at
that
him with
was
this look
great.
of, wait, how the hell did you know? And then Waller's like, stay out of my business, Batman. Because Waller and Batman have like this rivalry because it's Batman and he knows everything, and then you have Waller, who is also like a government agent, and she knows everything. So it's like it's very interesting seeing the rivalry between Waller and Batman. Okay, we're at 33 minutes. Pretty much as far as we could go. I still don't know if somebody's coming on yet. I mean,
Yeah, I just texted him and he hasn't texted me back yet. So you might not come on.
all right. Well, that's a-okay. We're gonna go into our final grades and final thoughts. Um, honestly, I'm just gonna give this movie a flat B. I think this movie is good, but I think that's just it. The movie is just good. Like, it's not a bad movie, and it's not something that's gonna immediately. It's not groundbreaking as a Batman film or a DC film either. I think it's just a baseline decent Batman movie. I
That
think
is very understandable.
like that's honestly all I really have to say. It's just a baseline Batman film. And a baseline Batman film is still good, so I mean, if you're not if you don't read the comic books and you just like the DC animated stuff, I recommend it. But as a comic book fan, you might be disappointed. Like, it's not Killing Joke bad of an adaptation. It's not even Injustice bad of an adaptation. It's just more or less disappointing. But it's not disappointing to where it's like a C or a D or an F. It's just a B. It's good, but nothing that I would be like, oh my god, guys, it's gonna wow your socks off. It's just a casual, like, eh, it's alright. It's good, but not my particular favorite. Like, because again, the action's good, the story is good. It's good. That's all I gotta say. Dylan, your final grade and final thoughts.
Okay, so I have to admit I'm still a little bit on the hype train. Maybe it's because Riddler is my favorite Batman villain, like I said. I have cooled off a little bit, at least, and after thinking about it just a little bit, I do agree with you that this is a very basic Batman film. It really should be a B. It really should be an A out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 9 just because I liked it that much, but that could change in the future. Overall thoughts is, yeah, this is a really good Batman film. I really liked all the twists and turns it had, and what actually amazes me is how many cameos they were in the film, and still not one of them felt like it was forced or rushed or anything like that. It all made sense. I really enjoy a film that can basically do fan service right, and I think this film does fan service right.
Okay, that's fair. I respect that. Terry Strong fan comes in. I remember Austin's Freddy versus Jason review. In regards to that, who do you believe actually won the fight in the end, Austin, Freddy, or Jason? Well, technically in the comics, Freddy is still alive in the dream world because he died in the physical world. But Jason also is still alive, so really nobody won. So if you want to go with the physical sense, Jason won, but really it was a draw. So that's really the only thing I could really say to that Terry Strong fan is I would just say it was more of a draw than an actual like win. Um okay, well, we're 37 minutes in. I don't think this person's gonna be here.
I can
S
try texting him again, see if he answers.
yeah. And so yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up. So, um, I mean, you could text him again, Dylan, but
Yeah, I just did.
okay. Well, other than that little awkward silence there, um, we're gonna wrap this thing up. If he comes in towards the end,
Yeah, we'll let him
then,
say his stuff, but
but because I do want to pad out a couple minutes, I'm gonna thank everybody in the chat. It was a good discussion, guys. Yeah, I thought it was pretty solid.
yeah, it was a pretty solid discussion between you and me. And the fact that you and me can have like a 40-minute discussion about a Batman film, I think that's pretty good, considering it's just the two of us.
Very, very good. Terrace, I want to thank everybody in the chat. Terrace Strong fan, Kavari, Deshaun, thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate it. I know everybody's busy on this specific Sunday because of the Super Bowl. And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna let Dylan go say where he can be found at one more time. So, Dylan, the floor is yours.
Yep, you guys can find me here, of course, on the Austinators channel for the DC reviews. I've been enjoying myself, enjoyed Batman Hush. I can't wait to see how this how this series ends with the next two films. It's my first time watching, so I've really enjoyed myself. Thanks for showing me these, Austin. They've been great, man. With that said, you guys can also find me on Zach Alzielo's channel for the Scream reviews. My first time watching Scream. We will be reviewing Scream 5 very soon, so look forward to that. You guys can also find me on Tim Talks channel every now and again. We've actually been reviewing Bad Batch on there, and that's been fun. The last couple of Bad Batch episodes, I can't believe I'm saying this, were actually really good. I'm surprised I enjoyed that. It felt like Gilmore's. I'm surprised by that. You guys can also find me on my own channel, Anime Talk, where I gather up a couple of friends, including my buddy Austin here, and talk about anime. Last week we talked about Death Note, and this week we will be continuing that conversation with part two, and I hope you guys look forward to that. If you guys like anime, come over, like, share, subscribe, and talk anime with us. Thanks for having me on, Austin.
No problem, Dylan. I actually, it's always fun having you on, and again, yeah, like you said earlier, the fact that we can have a 40-minute discussion with just two people about Batman, uh, I think we're doing something right.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you guys can find me usually on my channel, where this week is the last week of these DC Animated Universe reviews. Because Wednesday we're reviewing Wonder Woman Bloodlines, and then Saturday we'll be reviewing Apocalypse War.
And after that, I am out here. I'll be moving, so we'll have to take a couple weeks off, but we'll be back to review all of the films. And one big discussion that'll be fun to do when we do the ranking stream.
It is going to be fun because I think the ranking stream is going to be very interesting, and we might do something to, I guess, celebrate the full-on ranking, or well, no, finish off the reviews with each person's going to do a separate tier list on stream, and we're going to see how the opinions will, how our opinions differ, and we'll be using all 4 tier lists to make a cumulative tier list to see where the movies would rank with all 4 grades.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun to do.
It will be. And you guys can usually find me on Zach's channel for the Scream reviews, the Bad Batch Roundtable on Chaos Central, Anime Talk, we're talking Death Note, the Basco Scenario for the Hangout, everywhere in between. Guys, very much appreciated. Thank you guys for coming in the chat. If you guys are watching this after the fact, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And saying that, guys, yeah, we are going to wrap it up. So, yeah, I think that's what we're going to do because it's 42 minutes in. And with that being said, though, guys, this is the Austinator and Dylan signing out.
Bye.
Peace.